What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back with another episode of Lions Latest, going through the latest Detroit Lions news. And after the win over the Arizona Cardinals, and I think someone said it in the chat, I think that was Ken, shout out to you, Ken, if you said this, but we get the win at Arizona, but man, in a lot of ways, it kind of feels like a loss. The amount of injuries that took place in that game, it was messy, and we're waiting on a lot of injury updates. Sam LaPorta, Alim McNeil, Derek Barnes, Levi Owens-Enrique. We got a lot of injury updates, right? We'll touch on a few of those, but a lot of the stuff I'm still waiting on. Maybe by the time we're seeing this, we have more updates. However, today, concerning update about one of our injuries and a player that could potentially be lost for the season, according to Ian Rapoport, and that is Marcus Davenport. So let's get it started. Welcome everybody to another video. Glad you guys are here, and yes, we're back with another update video, man. And I'm not gonna lie, this hurts my stomach. But I was like, I should do a video on this because it's such massive news for the Detroit Lions. And going back and kind of watching some of the game, just seeing the fact that Davenport kept putting himself on the field. He goes from an arm sleeve to a brace, and then you're watching him. He's not even using his arm. As that game rolls along, it got to the point where he was out there and he wasn't even moving his arm. And to get this update, according to Ian Rapoport, which is Lions pass rusher Marcus Davenport suffered what appears to be a serious and significant elbow injury in Sunday's game. Davenport, who put a sleeve on it and tried to return, could be lost for the season. He's currently undergoing more tests. And see this, and we know that he went out there and he played, and watching it live and then understanding that he came back in and played, I was a little bit surprised to hear this kind of news. I was like, well, he did go back out there. But then when I watched the game back, and I saw the play where his arm almost looked like it collapsed on him trying to set the edge. He had the sleeve back on when he tried to go back out there. He had a sleeve on, and he tried to set the edge against Paris Johnson, playing that right defensive end role for the Lions. And you could see it almost like buckle and collapse on him. And right then and there, I was like, oh, this is not good. And I thought, okay, he was probably done after this point. And he wasn't done after that. He actually went back onto the field with seemingly a bigger brace on him. Saw him on the sideline, and then he goes back into the game. And once he went back into the game, he's not even using his left arm. It was crazy. Like, first off, a lot of appreciation. I got the shirt out. I wore it yesterday for the game for that man, Marcus Davenport. I wanted to show some love here because if this is the case, I hope it's not. But if it is, man, a lot of respect for that dude. I mean, he was just throwing himself out there, and it did not look like at all like he should be on the field. But getting this injury update, I think it's worth touching on and just putting a short video out just to make everybody aware of what we know so far, but we'll keep an eye out for a deeper update. The other injuries that we're kind of waiting for, Derek Barnes, who went out early in the game, got carted off with the knee injury. Dan Campbell, in his presser, speaking on him and Alim McNeil, he can't say it's not long-term, but he also doesn't feel worried that it's season-ending, so it sounds like it could be pretty significant for both of those guys. Again, we'll have to wait to see for the updates. Those would be two key losses. First off, Derek Barnes, which just kind of throws us off because he is the Sam backer in this defense, and he fits perfectly for that role. This last game, 7 snaps from Ben Niemann. I actually think Ben Niemann looked pretty comfortable in that role, so if he has to step in there, I think it would actually make a lot of sense. I thought when Jalen was in that spot, it looked kind of shaky, but I thought Ben looked okay there in the few snaps, in coverage, handling the run a little bit, but Derek Barnes is perfectly built for that, so it's a really tough loss. We definitely need to get Alex Anzalone back. Could open up the flexibility for them to say, hey, maybe we get Jack Campbell back down to the line of scrimmage. We put Malcolm at the off-ball linebacker position. They could open up some more flexibility if we can get Duracell back, but that's what we're waiting for with those two. Sam LaPorta, sprained ankle, though according to ESPN, it sounds like it's a lower ankle grade, potentially sprain. Now, again, I don't know a timetable on this. Maybe it's like a 3-week kind of injury. Maybe it's not multi-week. Typically, low ankle sprain for Sam LaPorta. Probably going to be a lot better news. Hopefully that means missing less time. And as Dan Campbell hit on, like, the bye week is going to be happening at a perfect time for the Lions. You have an extra day with Monday Night Football against Seattle, extra rest day, which they're going to need. And then they hit a bye week immediately after that. Like, hey, that's the thing about the bye weeks, man. You know, you come into the year, you never know. It always sounds terrible at the beginning, and, you know, I don't think we love it, but it just depends on where your team is at, and thank goodness that we have a bye week coming up right after Seattle, because I think we are going to need it for sure, and it's just going to be about, hey, can we get through this game against Seattle, find a way to win with what we're going to have, and then potentially if guys like LaPorta, if it's not super long-term, even if he has to miss this 1 week, can we then get him back after the bye week? That's going to be the thing here, so this is actually going to end up being a beautiful time, I think, to end up having this bye week. We just touched on the Marcus Davenport one. Brian Branch is, of course, going through concussion protocol after the really tough hit against Trey McBride. That was was ugly as well. Taron Arnold, who was dealing with the knee injury, coming into it with the illness in the hand, dealing with the knee injury that he went out there and he played through, and he played really well for us in this last game. And then Levi Onwuzurike, who's actually been pretty darn good so far this season. 12 pressures on the season. This year he had 4 in this last game, and he gives us a lot of flexibility without Davenport because he can step out there at defensive end and give us some of that pocket collapsing ability as well. His flexibility is key, especially without Ali McNeil. That way we can play some of those, bear fronts or whatever we want to play up front. He gives us a lot of flexibility to align a lot of different alignments. So he's another big one because he's actually performed pretty well. He's been pretty consistent. He's shown some good things against the run, and he's playing different positions. So he's going to be a big one to keep an eye on. The positive for the Lions is they do have strong depth at defensive line. They do, between Josh Paschal still gives you a lot of that kind of tone setting aspect that Marcus Davenport gave as that power piece, taking on blocks, kind of just pushing guys back at the point of attack, being dominant against tight ends and backs. He doesn't, to me, bring the same juice as a pass rusher, doesn't really bring the same length either, seemingly, as a pass rusher, especially on games and stunts up front. Mekhi Wingo, again, not having the length, but Mekhi Wingo has played in the interior and given us some depth. So positive is we have a lot of guys on the defensive line that we like that can play a lot of different positions. We just have to wait on a lot of these updates, but mainly this was about Marcus Davenport, and this one hurt, man. I was actually just frustrated for a few minutes, and I was like, I want to do this video. Same time, I don't want to do this video. I don't even want to talk about this. I'm just frustrated, man, because I really like the start that he was off to. He had to go against Paris, and Paris Johnson, their best offensive lineman, did pretty well. He only had 1 pressure in this last game after a really good week 1, but playing that right defensive end position, you can't have your left arm messed up. I mean, he's trying to set the edge. You're going to have to use your left arm to kind of sit yourself down, and if that thing's jacked up, I don't know how you're going to do that. You'd have to flip positions to then lean and favor your right arm, and I just don't think we would do that for a season to the guys. So I hate this for him, man. I love the fact that he showed that kind of heart, but this stinks, man, because as you all know, I'm a big Davenport guy. I thought he'd be in line for an extension because he played that well, and I think he was off to a good start to doing that. You could just feel the presence on the field when he was out there, and he was the perfect complement to Hutchinson. So hopefully this isn't season ending, and it's something that, even if it is significant, he can get back eventually, maybe be ready for that playoff push, and we can have Levi and Josh Paschal and those guys help us out in this position in the meantime. But as of now, it's not sounding great, and I'll tell you what, it didn't look great on the field. So just wanted to give a quick update there on Marcus Davenport. I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, man. Say, looking back at some of this game, haven't got to the All-22 yet, but cornerbacks definitely look good. I loved watching Carlton in the rewatch, and Brian Branch doing work as well. The whole secondary, like we hit on yesterday, was just doing work and coverage. I love to see that, and really excited about this defensive front still, and their ability to play 2 deep safeties and still stop the run. It's pretty darn awesome, but definitely stinks that we could be losing this guy who is just he's a difference maker, man. You feel him run game and pass game. So I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you, Brad, for watching. Get better soon, Marcus, and hopefully we get some good updates on all these other guys. Thank you, Brad, for watching, and I'm out.